Hi, I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to do this Peridot Slide Bracelet featuring some knotting cord. The knotting cord is really versatile, easy, burns really nicely, and if you need any, look below the video in the description there. You can get links back to our website. This is also one of the projects in this month's kit box, so if you want to check out our selection of subscriptions, we have two options, kits and treasure. The kit box comes with 3 new projects each month, and the treasure, lots and lots of materials to stock you up for that month of creating. Gather up your supplies and let's get ready to get started and learn a lot of knotting. All right, so knotting is one of those skills like riding a bike. The more that you do it or swimming, the easier it gets. We're using the BeadTec knotting cord in the olive color, hence that Peridot name, and we're using the 0.5. Reason we're using the 0.5, I want the beads to stand out, but we also want it to be a nice kind of simple bracelet popping on that green color for the season. The first thing you're going to do is decide on how many strands you want. You don't have to decide on the total number when you get started. You can just start laying them down as you're working on it and seeing exactly what you like. I want my strands, so I'm going to do a total of, I think, 10 strands. I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's number 7, maybe 9 strands. And the first thing we're going to do is cut those 9 or 10 strands into 20-inch pieces. Once you have them in 20-inch pieces, you're going to go about 5 to 6 inches down on the project, and you are going to tie a knot. Now you're going to repeat this for every single strand. That knot is tied, then you have that extra there that's going to be blank. From here, you're going to feed on your beads. Now, people will do this in different ways. I like to do it one at a time rather than pulling all the beads through my knot. That's up to you. I'm going to burn the end of my cord so it makes it a nice kind of smooth end, and then I can put my beads on, no problem. I'm going to put my first bead on, and I'm not concentrating so much on the exact spacing. It's more learning how to do that technique. I put a bead on, it goes right up next to the knot. Some beads you might need to do a double knot for. And I'm going to tie a knot. So I'm going to show you how I hand knot. You can also use a beading awl if you want to, if you have that sitting around to do the knotting. But once you get good at this, it's actually pretty quick and simple. You're going to hold your strand with your left hand if you're right-handed, right if you're left. And we're going to use my fingers there, and my thumb on my left hand here is going to hold on to that knot. So I'm going to repeat just so you can see that again. I kind of take it around, and then I'm sliding my thumb into that. So I'm sliding my thumb into there and holding it together. I'm going to pull the cord through, and then that thumb kind of almost acts as an awl. I put pressure on the bead so it goes right next to the bead, and I pinch that knot. So hard to do slow. Pinch that knot right next to the bead so that way it sits right up next to the bead. I'll do it a little bit faster so you can see. Again, sliding that finger in there, bringing that cord back, and then I want it to be fairly close together, so I'm just going to hold that bead. The nice thing with this, again, we're not doing exact measurements. Putting on another bead, and you're going to let your bead drop next to your cord. Go in here, don't overthink it, just do a knot. I push everything against the piece as I'm doing the knot. I do my next knot, and I'll show you how to use the awl. Exactly where you want it to do. So you can see I kind of go slowly and push my knot exactly where I want. If you have an extra little knot that's not that's not as close to the bead as you want, you can do a double knot. So if you are still learning how to do a knot along your beads, you're making a loop, a simple overhand loop, and you can take a piece of wire, a reamer, a beading awl here, and by putting that loop inside the awl, you can push that down closer to the bead here and make sure that that loop is not closing. Kind of push up towards the top because the awls get skinnier as you go. I push that against the bead and pull it against the bead and then pull up, and that knot's right there. Because you're doing this repeatedly, I would go in and use this to practice hand knotting like I'm doing. Where you kind of slowly look at that little pretzel knot and push it exactly where you want it to be. And a beading awl is handy to have in case you do a wrong knot. But with this bracelet, the design of it is, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put that one in there. I use my thumb to push back along the bead, which is pushing back on the knot before it. I make my loop, and I try to always keep that knot that I've made right down next to the bead, and I release. Going in here, tying that overhand knot, getting it exactly where I want it to go. Just kind of look how I'm gently pushing and pulling the cord. I put on my bead, and I repeat. Once I have about 6 inches of beads, I'm going to lay my project down, and I should have about 6 or so inches on the other side as well. So you're going to repeat this, going in just hand knotting, getting those knots, putting a bead on. And the nice thing with the size 5 knotting cord is a lot of beads will fit on there. Bead goes down and knot. You can see how quick it goes. Then as you continue, and there's no right and wrong for how many beads, what the spacing is, that's completely up to you. I'm going to keep going and again do about 9 strands of this, and we'll end up with that knotted section in the middle and about 6 inches of cord on the left and 6 inches of cord on the right. Do you want to get half-price kits every month? With the monthly kit subscription, you'll get 3 new kits for only $59.99, including free shipping. And you can pause or cancel your subscription at any time. Visit PotomacBeads.com/subscribe or click on the link in the description. Once you have all your strands done, what you're going to do is line them up. So pretty much the beads end around the same, and if the beads aren't quite as long, you can see I'm making sure that they're to the middle of the strands. So I'm going in here and making sure that as I line them up, before I knot them together, that they are all going to be kind of in the center there. And they're going to end up piled on top of one another, so that is fine as well. I'm just going in here and grabbing them. What I'm going to do then is pinch this side here, and I'm going to take all my strands, and I'm just going to do an overhand knot. So what you've been doing, but just with all of those strands at one time. I'm going to push that up towards my last one, and then I'm going to start pulling. Individually, one by one, I will pull the cords and tighten that up. Once you have one side nice and tight, you're going to go to the other side and do the exact same thing. I want to pull them so they're fairly tight, but I do like the overlap and want them to kind of look bunched up. With this technique, if you want to, you can do a necklace. And for that, you can make them varying lengths and kind of hang different distances. For the bracelet, we want them to sit clustered. From here, again, same thing, grab one strand at a time of all of these 9 strands. That'll work on pulling this knot that I've created nice and tight. The best thing about the knotting cord is it is flammable. What that means is it gives you an opportunity that you can burn the ends of it, and it will stretch just a tiny bit. So I'm kind of stretching it out to make sure that it's the length that I want it to be. I'm going to lay it on my wrist and see exactly how it hangs and where it is. I want those knots not quite to touch, but I want them almost to touch. So you can see kind of where they are there. Here's the way that it looks then, sitting nice and over nice summer jewelry. The first thing I'm going to do then is get rid of my shorter strands. So to go in here on one side, generally it's going to be all about the same because we started out with that 6 inches before. And on the opposite side, I only want to keep 3 strands. So I'm going to look at the shortest strands, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. And again, I just want to keep 3 longer strands. With these shorter strands, what we're going to do is we are going to cut them off. So how am I going to cut them off? I'm going to cut them off right here with a scissors, fairly close to the knot, leaving just about 1/4 inch there. I'm going to grab a lighter and we're going to burn these cords down. Now looking at my project here, I have 3 strands coming out of one side, 3 strands coming out of the other side. I'm going to bend those strands towards the side because we don't want them to burn. And we are going to burn those thread ends. To burn them, again, pushing those other ones back along the side, I'm going to take a lighter and we're just going to burn them down nice and towards the project. You're going to get a little bit of a balled up section there. You can take a needle if you want to. You can take a plier and kind of push that down ever so slightly. You want it to be a little flat. And then you have your strands here at the end ready to go. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Pulling those strands back, getting them close then, pulling them up, letting them light, and then blowing them out as they get closer to the original knot. You should then have your strands on the outside here, and we're going to get in and do our slide or our slip knot so that we can go in and close the piece. I'm actually going to go in and just do 2 strands so that way it's not as complicated to get on and off. 2 or 3 work. All right, so now at the ends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have these crossover in opposite directions. So you have your 2 cords, some that are going to the right, some that are going to the left, and you're going to pick up the center section, which has 4 total cords because I dropped it down to 4. I'm going to take a new piece of cord, and this piece of cord here is about 12 to 15 inches long, up to you, and I'm going to tie it in a knot around those 4 cords. We're going to do a standard macrame style slip knot. So to learn how to do that, we're going to kind of turn it to the side. Again, we have 2 strands that are ending towards the top, 2 strands that are ending towards the bottom. On the left-hand side here, I'm going to cross the thread over those 4 strands that's on the left-hand side, and the thread that's on the right is going to go over top of that cord. So left first, over top with the right. This cord here is going to go, the one that's over the top, is going to go underneath all 4 strands and out through the middle of the loop of the left-hand side. Give a nice tight pull, and that creates a regular macrame knot. I'm going to do the opposite side now. I create what I call Snoopy's nose. I take Snoopy's nose and I go over top of all 4 strands. The strand that's on the left now crosses over the back of Snoopy's nose, that cord, goes underneath the 4 strands, and we're going to bring it out through the middle of Snoopy's nose. And that gets your second half-hitch knot. From here, we're going to do the same thing. We go to the left, so you're constantly going left to right. You make Snoopy's nose to the left, his ear comes down, that cord that made his ear crosses underneath those 4 strands and up through the middle. What that's going to do is create that nice square knot there. Bring your cords down and tie. Now I switch to the right side. Snoopy's nose, Snoopy's ear goes over, Snoopy's ear cord goes underneath the 4 strands and out through Snoopy's nose. And that creates that. You're going to see that back and forth zigzag. I usually hold it up as I'm working on it because it's easier once you're doing it and you know what you're doing to just kind of hold it closer to the project. You can pin it down on a macrame board if you want. And you'll notice I don't have an equal amount of cord on both ends. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about that yet. I'm going to worry about that after the fact and add some beads to the end. Going through then, doing that knot is going to make that flat. If I would continue to go for the same side over and over again, what's going to happen with that is that when you do the same side over again, it starts to spin. We want to make sure that we're doing left and then right. Whatever strand is coming out kind of towards the bottom, the opposite side of the one sticking up, is the one that becomes Snoopy's nose. Cord goes over, tucks underneath, and through the middle. We do have other macrame videos too if you need a little bit more help with the macrame. Once you do the right side, then you do the left. Going over, that cord goes over the top, sneaks underneath, and through the middle. I want to do about an inch, a full inch of this standard macrame knot so I have a nice slide. And then we're going to go in and even out our strands here and tie on a couple extra little beads to hang down along the back of the piece. So a couple more knots, probably 8 or so, and then I'll show you how we're going to go in and kind of create that tension for the slip knot. Once you're finished with that right angle or with that square stitch there, What you're going to do is you are going to cut the cord down along the sides here. And again, just about that 1/8 of an inch there. My scissors are very dull. And we're going to go in this time rather than with the lighter, and we're going to go in with our thread burner. The reason is because we do not want at all to get this thread connected to our base strands, those 4 lines of thread, because otherwise they will not move. So you can see I'm kind of pushing against this here. It's going to gummify this and kind of make it a little bit gummy. And I want to take it while it's warm and just kind of bend it back upon itself. That will keep it from opening. And then attaching it kind of to the side there keeps it from moving. Same thing here on this side. Going in, warming it up, kind of making it a little gummy. And then when it's in that gummy state, kind of push it against itself, and that ends that knot. So now along the sides, what I want to do is make the cords about even. I need to make it big enough that it will go over the biggest part of my wrist. So I'm going to kind of slide those open so I make sure that I can get my bracelet on. And I want to kind of try to keep that so that it's in the middle. There we go. So right there's my ends, where that's as big as I need it to be to go around my wrist. I'm going to take my cords here that are on the end, feed a couple beads on. This will prevent the cord from coming out of that slip knot or that slide knot. You can see I'm going to go in and do that nice little tongue action to push that bead down. I'm going to tie this close to the end, but not right up there. I want the bead to be able to move. And I am going to double knot it. Once that double knot is done, same thing here, going to go in, snip it, do the same thing over here, adding a bead, letting that drop, giving it a little space. And you can add, actually, let's go ahead and add 3 beads. Why not? We'll make it hang down at the bottom. You can also attach charms here. All right, now that I have those 3 beads on, I'm going to tie this off. Again, a double knot, so those beads don't escape off. And then the way that this works is the cord now here, this is as big as the project can get, is where the beads go to open it up. Cutting it down short here. And then I will go in for these. Have fun, use the lighter, let it burn. And just do that little bald end. Same thing here, go in, let it burn. Let that do the little balled up end. Now the beads stay right by that end. And I'm going to go in here. Let's see that extra one there. I'm going to go in here to the other side now, and I am going to do the same thing on the opposite side and get rid of these 2 longer cords. Once you're done there, that finishes up your Peridot Slide Bracelet. When you hold the ends here to your cord and those beads, you can make that slip knot go tighter when it's on your wrist, and those beads will hang back, or you can pull and make them looser as you go in as well too. So I'm going to pull it open. I stick it onto my wrist. So fun and great for summer. And then I usually kind of turn my wrist to the side here, and I work using those beads to close and pull that nice and tight on both sides. Look how fun and pretty that nice simple bracelet is. You can cut these down a little bit short if you want to, but I like them hanging as charms along the back. Hopefully you have fun creating this. Again, if you want to, just do it as a necklace as well and braid the sides of it. You can still do the slip knot to go around the back of your neck. You have plenty of cord to work and to make a necklace too. As always, thanks so much for joining me in creating this fun Peridot Slide bracelet, perfect for summer and learning that knotting technique. Again, you can make a necklace as well too. You have plenty of extra cord for that. Remember, this was one of our subscription box projects, along with 2 other seed bead projects as well too. So it's nice to get those different techniques and the different things each month that you learn. If you want to check out the subscriptions, look below the video. In the description of the video, we'll put links to get back to our website. As always, hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.